Hello everyone, good evening. I'm Shreya Dhondiyal. You're watching the Urban Debate here on Mirror Now. Ladies and gentlemen, it has happened once again. Online bullying and moral policing has once again claimed a corporate victim. And that victim this time is a jewellery brand called GIVA. 48 hours after a sustained campaign by Sanskari trolls online, the brand has now decided to drop its Rakhi advertisement starring Kriti Sanon. Right-wing activists saw the ad as offensive to Hindu sensibilities. Actor Kangana Ranaut said, "How can anyone wear a bralette for Rakhi?" Then came the others who said, "How can a Rakhi be tied to a pet?" An opinion became a campaign, the outrage machine worked overtime, and GIVA was bullied into dropping its ad. In their statement, the brand said their intention was to celebrate with pets, not to disrespect traditional values. The brand said that it had the deepest respect for Indian culture and festivals. It signed off wishing everyone love and positivity. But there was no positivity that is coming their way. One side is now demanding an apology. The other side is accusing it of buckling under pressure. To make matters worse for GIVA, politicians have now stepped in as well.
जैसे मैंने कहा, राहुल गांधी जी का पॉलिटिकल रेटरिक कम्युनिटी का रंग देख के, रिलीजन का रंग देखकर बदल जाता है। इसीलिए उन्होंने सिलेक्टिव आउटरीच करा। वो केवल और केवल सनातन संस्कृति को अटैक करते हैं, बाकी समुदाय के खिलाफ कुछ नहीं बोलते। और जब कपड़ों की बात आती है तो राहुल गांधी मौन साध जाते हैं। उनका महिला सशक्तिकरण का जो प्रिंसिपल है वो यूनिवर्सल प्रिंसिपल नहीं है।
अब ज्वेलरी ब्रांड की कंपनी आगे आकर के कह रही है कि हम माफी मांगते हैं। ये शूट करते समय तुम्हारी मति काक हो गई थी क्या? तब तुमने ये जानबूझ करके शूट किया? तुमको पता था कि इस प्रकार से पहनावा होगा तो कंट्रोवर्सी होंगे, लोग उस पर टिप्पणी करेंगे। यह सोच घोर हिंदू विरोधी है और ऐसी सोच को आने वाले भविष्य में यदि रोकना होगा तो कड़ा से कड़ा कानून, और कानून में बहुत सारे प्रावधान हमें करने होंगे। ये सोची समझी साजिश थी या क्या था, इसकी जांच हो।
जिस पर जो डर दबाव है वो जाने, कंपनी जवाब दे, कोई और जवाब दे। जिस पर जो डर दबाव है वो जाने, कंपनी जवाब दे, कोई और जवाब दे।
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the first time online bullying by the so-called protectors of Hindu culture has targeted brands. Fab India's campaign Jashn-e-Riwayat, if you remember, had to be dropped because of the usage of Hindu words, Jashn-e-Riwayat, and the fact that the models weren't wearing bindis. Then there was the Tanishq campaign on oneness of culture. It backfired because it depicted an interfaith baby shower. It was called Love Jihad by the trolls and was ultimately withdrawn. So do the opinions of an echo chamber represent the views of the entire country? Why do brands find it more prudent to capitulate than to fight back the hate? That is my question this evening. My guests are joining us. Suzanne Burnett is an actress. She is joining us on the broadcast. Suzanne, thank you very much. Deepika Narayan Bharadwaj, back on the show with us. Hi Deepika ji, namaskar. Nasir Abdullah is an actor joining us on the broadcast. Good to have you, sir. Andrea is an actor. She's also the General Secretary of the All India Cine Workers Association, joining us on the broadcast. Hi, Andrea. Thank you very much. And Dilip Cherian is an image guru. He's joining us on the broadcast. Dilip ji, before I go to anyone else and get into the Sanskari debate and what was unsanskari about tying a Rakhi to a pet or the actor in the ad wearing what she was wearing, I want to look at this from the brand's perspective. You know, the ad was absolutely and completely harmless. Any right-thinking citizen will say that. Yet, this mighty brand could not withstand 48 hours of online bullying and trolling. What does this tell me about the brand?
It tells you that the brand is smart in its marketing, Shreya, because it realized that it had achieved its objective and that everybody was talking GIVA at the moment. And GIVA is a small brand in the in the larger pantheon of jewelry brands. It is also, don't forget, a loss-making brand. It is funded by a whole bunch of private equity players, and they know that smart marketing money isn't getting the brand known, because the kind of quantum of sales that they're going to get during Rakhi is not going to be either substantial or make a huge difference to their bottom line. The second thing about bullying and companies responding to it is, please understand that when companies and advisors like me look at this, we also look at the socio-dynamics and the demographics of those who are objecting.
Okay.
Most of the time you will find that these virulent tweets and take it down screams are largely by people who are not even potential buyers of this product.
Correct.
So does it matter to me as a company that this non-potential customer is screaming and cussing at me only because I want just to make sure that I got my opportunity to be seen, OTS, in the marketplace? I've done my job. My marketing has achieved its objective. I retreat and everything continues as normal, having conflagrated an unnecessary controversy, which continues to last because there are lots of people with almost no other interest who have the happiness of keeping it going. And then there are the witless champions of patriarchy like Kangana, who will keep these things alive for a much longer period.
So are you telling me that possibly the brand knew exactly what it was doing and exactly the controversy it will create? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Cherian?
I wish I could say that. Most companies are not that smart. But I do know that past experience, and as you've already pointed out several examples, companies have seen that doing this quick exit, apology, peri pena, whatever is needed is done, and you move on and you wait for the next opportunity to find what is called a viral marketing moment. It need not always be the same.
Essentially then, you're saying that the brand has this is the best case scenario that is playing out for the brand. There is virality, people are talking about GIVA, and that's exactly what this ad campaign aimed at in the first place. I'm not sure whether people, just because it's viral, people will go and buy it and improve its bottom lines. I don't think that's happening.
I think people will recognize the brand. And also don't forget, it is cheap and cheerful because they've used their own brand ambassador. They've used a poor dog who probably was paid very little. And, it's done its job.
Amongst other things, Deepika Narayan Bharadwaj, the outrage has been against this poor little dog being tied a Rakhi by Kriti Sanon. I mean, under which sky is this offensive to Hindu sensibility?
We are living in an age of outrage, so people can find anything offensive. There are traditions and cultures, and there are texts written about every festival that we celebrate. People who are deeply religious and go as by the books of what was written in the religion or the culture or the particular festival that we celebrate, if we go anyway out of the line from there, people, feel really bad about it. And I think a lot of angst is coming from this place, Shreya, that, other festivals are not mocked around, other festivals are not tweaked around, other festivals are not,
Deepika, you mean Eid, na? You mean Eid,
correct.
Let's say.
Eid or Christmas.
Because aaj Eid hai. Aaj Onam bhi hai aur Eid bhi hai. So yeah, go ahead.
Kriti had shared, Happy Eid with burqa. So a lot of people are asking whether she would do an ad like this for an Eid. And I think it's a very valid question. If you constantly target a particular religion and their festivals and their culture obviously people are going to ask questions. And one more thing I really want to emphasize, Shreya, while we are talking about this ad, recently there was a controversy. There was a sub-inspector in the UP police who was doing live in the evening with a, maxi, and then put out her. So, and people are relating it with, how can people dictate what women should wear? Now, if you look at this ad, this man, the younger brother is wearing a kurta and a pajama.
Correct.
He could have also wear a banyan. If it was about or if he would have been only in shorts, I'm sure people would have outraged then as well. There's a certain context to a festival. It is celebrated in a certain way. To tweak so much with it, especially with the kind of outfit you wear, the way you
Actually, she's wearing a lehenga. The outfit is on our screen. She's wearing
with a bralette.
Fashion hai, sab pehante hain.
With a constant focus pretty much on the cleavage. I don't know if it is the right outfit for a festival. I'll be very honest, I'm not model policing. I would be I am a very, very progressive and open-minded woman. I will not like to wear something like that in front of my brother.
I agree with you. I would not wear it too.
In front of a brother.
Deepika ji, I would not wear it too.
Yeah, correct.
I would also not wear it because there is something called appropriate dressing for occasions, hai na? And what Kriti is wearing doesn't fit into my it's not appropriate as far as I'm concerned. But that is my point of view. That is how I think. Kriti may think differently, the brand may think differently, and she has every right to think differently and wear differently without getting bullied.
You wear that in a movie, you wear that in a lingerie ad, you wear anything that you want specific to a context. Nobody is outraging. There are undergarment ads as well. Nobody outrages. But this is an ad about Raksha Bandhan, Shreya. This is a festival. You can't expect people to wear a bikini on a festival advertisement. She's not sitting inside her home. She can post her pictures on her Instagram, in her social life. She can do anything that she wants as a woman. But this is an advertisement that is going for larger consumption for an entire nation. I think the ad should have been responsible in the way they are depicting this.
Well, they have withdrawn the ad now. Andrea, would you want to come in here?
Yeah, Shreya, and good evening, everybody. I would agree to Deepika that we are living in the age where we are having a lot of outrage and intolerance happening. So, yeah, coming back to the topic, I see two things happening here. That is cultural sensitivity, moral policing. Now, I come from Mumbai. Holy event. I've attended a lot of holy events, and there are even Navratri events. Women wear bralette with denim shorts. Women wear bralette with lehenga, exactly like how Kriti has worn. Yeah, that time there is no moral policing happening. But if Kriti wears it, it becomes a problem. I don't understand this logic. I mean, it's her choice. And as you said, you would not find it appropriate because that's your choice. Her choice, it's her wish to wear. I mean, there are women wearing bralettes and denim shorts on Holi. Nobody says tells them anything. But that is their choice. My choice. Even as me, I wouldn't wear a bralette and go outside, but that's my choice. But that doesn't give me the liberty to actually point fingers at somebody else. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. Moral policing is happening. People are saying we're not moral, but there is moral policing happening. And coming back to the pet, then if you're a pet parent, you would understand that, the emotion with the pet. How would anybody feel offended with that? I don't understand the logic completely. And something that is an ad, it's an ad for jewelry. You can have Kriti Sanon wearing a neckline till here and displaying her jewelry. Isn't it yes or no? So then how would you expect her to wear a closed neck saying that it is not appropriate? And where on earth is it written that this festival is supposed to be wearing this dress code? First of all, we need to understand the difference between a religious ceremony and a festival. Yeah, exactly like how Kamala needs to understand the difference between bikini and bralette. They are two different things. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Suzanne, where do you stand on this? A lot of the commentary, social media commentary is about how this is disrespectful to Hindu tradition. And this is going against Hindu sentiment. My point is, GIVA is owned by multiple entities. Most of them are Hindu, right? Dilip Cherian will back me on this. Kriti Sanon is a Hindu. The festival being depicted is a Hindu. How does this suddenly become anti-Hindu? A targeted campaign against Hindus. I don't understand the Hindu-Muslim angle here.
That you are saying, I don't see this as such an angle. I see that people are not taking everything anymore like they used to. I'm living 20 years in India, and I've seen a change in the sentiments. I've seen a change in the sensitivities, and I do understand that you don't think this is a right outfit. And I have on my Twitter and on my timeline, I have only people saying this is a beautiful outfit for a different occasion. So I didn't I didn't go on the GIVA page. I didn't see any trolling. I didn't see any hate. I just like people are saying, excuse me, but this is not appropriate for Raksha Bandhan, like Deepika just said. So I feel like it's, I don't know if the controversy is really that big or we're just making it so big because we have Kangana on one side and we have Kriti on the other side and there are all the channels jumping on board. So I don't know if this is actually this big and people are this upset, but it's good that the brand took it out because I see a disconnect. A lot of ads, besides this one, a lot of ads that have nothing to do with any sentimentality or any festival have a disconnect with their audience, with their target audience, because they're living in this echo chamber and in this bubble, and they're only rotating around themselves and they're not engaging with the target audience. They don't know what the people actually want to see. Either they're being dumped down, the women are being told, oh, you have to wash it, take this washing powder, otherwise you're not a good mother. Or then we have silly AI ads that look very AI and are weird. And then on top of it, you have these kinds of ads. So I think ad agencies have to go on a sabbatical and ask themselves if what they're doing is actually reaching the goal. And the goal is to sell product. And if you're doing an ad that you can basically predict this will be the outcome, then what was the intention behind that page?
Dilip, Suzanne here is talking about an echo chamber. But the fact is that if you look at the outrage that is circulating, it is the same group of 15, 20, 30 people who outrage about everything, right? So should a brand have responded to what an echo chamber is saying? It doesn't necessarily reflect what India is saying, right?
I think the brand is fully aware of that, which is what you said, that will it help the brand at all? As far as those who are not in the echo chamber, these 50 led by the redoubtable Kangana Ranaut, beyond that, it does not matter to anybody. Those people rage and outrage and add to this self-defined phenomena of the age of outrage. And outside that, there is no impact of a negative kind. The second thing we are not looking at carefully enough, Shreya, is how does Gen Z and Gen Alpha look at it? Honestly, they are not at all affected by this. They are bemused. They think it is your uncle's problem. And that, I think, also is something that brands are beginning to understand. They recognize that all of this, reading of the script, whether it is from the Bible or from the Quran or from any of the Upanishads, is best left to the uncle types who want to dominate a certain discussion. The discussion, as far as they are concerned, is more to do with the dog. And they love it. And you can see that all the Gen Z folks are loving this aspect of it if you see the chatter. So, whether they are a more disrespectful generation or not, we have no choice in defining that. We've got to live with them. And that is the market of tomorrow.
No, but is the brand even listening to Gen Z? Because if they were, their apology that they have put out on social media would not have specifically mentioned the pet. They are not saying a word about Kangana's bralette, by the way. All they are saying is, oh, we decided to include a pet, but since people are finding it offensive, we are removing the ad. So are they even listening? Because if they were listening to Gen Z, they wouldn't have removed the ad because they know that young people are loving it. The old uncles can, take their grievances and drown it in a mug of beer, possibly.
For the moment, the uncles and aunties still have a certain level of purchasing power. But I think that the brand has shown by referring to the dog only that it is actually listening to the younger cohort on social media. That's my view.
Okay. Nasir Abdullah, where do you stand on this? The point is, you know, this is again all online trolling, because that is where the discussion and the debate and the outrage is. It is not on the streets of this country, but because no one really cares. Hai na? Everyone knows that, I mean, this is an irrelevant discussion, and maybe the discourse is irrelevant as well, right? But Nasir Abdullah, look at what is being said. That if this was an ad that was coming out around Eid, and it was depicting Eid, then would Kriti Sanon or the brand have not been more careful about the way she dresses? When it comes to Eid, everyone is dressed in rich silks, you know, every part of the body is covered. But when it comes to Hindu festivals, everyone becomes very liberal.
Sure. So if you're saying for Eid, of course, but it's not up to Kriti to decide. It is the people who make the ad. So they would be more cautious because, you know, in the Islamic whatever tradition, you need to be dressed more modestly and all that, which is fine. But here is what I'm finding. This is an ad for a jewelry. It is not an ad about our you know, the religious, you know, the traditions and the customs and all that. And I'm really amazed and in a way disappointed that what often happens is that these guardians and these guards of the of dharma and the nation, they decide that what is right, what is wrong, and they get very worked up. And for example, okay, now there is this thing about the dog. They've been offended about that. In the scriptures, there's a story of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a story of one of the heroes whose name I can't remember now, which is fine. He's about to enter the higher realm of heaven. And he has a dog with him who was with him earlier on in his life. So they said, the powers that be said, you can't enter with the dog. He said, I will not enter if I can't enter with my dog. So they were very impressed and they had to make amends and they had to allow him to bring the dog in. A dog is the man's and the women's best friend. So they've got it all wrong. They are being nasty to a dog, and a dog pronounced backwards is God, but that's not the point.
No,
so I'm really surprised.
Mr. Abdullah, you're more upset about them being nasty to the dog. Mr. Abdullah, you're more upset about them being upset, you know, them being upset with the dog rather than with Kriti.
I'm dealing with both. What I'm saying is how far they're going. It is wrong. Let me give you another example that will make you understand the hypocrisy of these guys. Shah Rukh Khan and Tiger Shroff and Ajay Devgan have been sent a notice about endorsing an elaichi thingy in a Vimal Rajnigandha sachet. Now, here is the deal, and nobody can see that. I certainly saw it an hour ago. They have sent them a notice charging them that you're doing this, that is bad for health. The truth of the matter is they should shoot down the manufacturers. They should send a notice to the manufacturers who are making the stuff that is wrong.
Okay.
They are approaching, the manufacturers of the guns are approaching the people to shoot them. Why don't you kill the manufacturer? Why don't you arrest the manufacturer? Mental. This goes to show the hypocrisy. And the film industry is a soft target. They're just waiting and waiting to do this stuff and, you know, for someone to cross. But I'm giving you the perfect example.
Okay.
They are after the film industry guys because it's a soft target.
Okay.
And it's very unfair. And I repeat again, when the manufacturer is asking the celebrities to do this for him, they are liable. They should not be allowed to approach them.
No, but again, I'm saying, why is even the brand liable? What have they done? In this case, you know, pan ilaichi and all that is a separate topic. But in this case, the ad was absolutely harmless. Deepika Narayan Bharadwaj, just come in here. I mean, I don't need to mention this to anyone, but the fact is that dogs are associated with many gods in the Hindu religion, including Kal Bhairav, Yama, Dattatreya, Indra, etc. So I'm not sure what this outrage is about, honestly. But, there is one view that says that is this who we are as a country? That we will outrage about an advertisement where an actress is wearing a bralette for Rakhi and tying a Rakhi to a dog on a day when a rapist Baba has got 21 days parole once again for the 17th time.
Yeah,
this is what
Shreya,
we outrage about.
I think there is absolutely no doubt that as a country, we have got our priorities absolutely wrong. I don't know what calls for a debate on a topic like this, but see, social media is open to everyone to express their opinion. Like I also express my opinion on what I think about what Kriti Sanon is wearing. And I made a limited point that, there is like Andrea was saying, ki Holi pe somebody, women wear this. Yes, but because Holi is a festival of fun. You wear whatever you want to wear. You get, colored and all of that. You wear whatever you want to wear. I don't think that, so there would have been an outrage. Raksha Bandhan is a very, very a different kind of festival, and that's why people are expressing opinion on what Kriti is wearing. As far as dogs thing is concerned, I love dogs. I don't think, for me, that part is not not objectionable at all in the ad. Somebody else can say anything. I think dogs are, like Nasir said, they are our best friend. They are our protectors. Also, there are countless stories where dogs have actually attacked any, thief or a loot person, and protected a family. So if the festival is about tying, a band on the person who we think is our protector, our savior, then I think nobody is better than a dog, because a dog is always there to protect its master or its friend or its family. So I have no problems over there. But yes, I'm absolutely with you, Shreya. I think we have much bigger problems to deal with. I hope we have a relentless campaign on how this Baba Ram Rahim gets out every time. I think the politicians should be more concerned about how they are garlanding him and treating him despite having committed the heinous most crimes, rather than on a innocuous ad from GIVA.
Dilip Cherian, do you then in conclusion feel a little bad for Kriti Sanon? She yesterday stepped out not just to defend herself, but to defend the brand as well. And today the brand let her down by withdrawing the ad.
I think Kriti is probably mature enough to know the game that she is also part of. In that sense, I would say that she has more agency than many of the people attacking her. She has agency as far as her clothes are concerned, who she wants to tie a band with, and where she invests her time and money. And I think that is the kind of womanhood we should be looking at encouraging. And as I said, it is about brands and companies knowing who their real audiences is and understanding where the changed audiences and their preferences are heading towards. I think that is the direction, Shreya, that we should all be watching for.
All right, we leave it there for the moment. Suzanne, thank you very much. Deepika, Nasir Abdullah, Andrea and Dilip Cherian, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. With that, ladies and gentlemen, a quick break. There's more on the other side. Do stay with us.